This morning on BRN, the Bulls are firmly in control on Wall Street. Joining me now to help break it all down, Jane King joins us from the New York Stock Exchange. Jane, always great to see you. Thanks for joining us on the program this morning.
Happy New Year.
And you're in your new digs. How's that working out for you?
Really good. So I'm at the New York Stock Exchange. So there's just excitement of the trading floor and seeing a lot of old friends. I used to work here for CNN and Bloomberg. And so it's nice to be here and nice to be back.
And now you're so close you can reach out and pull a trader in to comment on your right. I mean, you can do that.
Yeah. Oh, they walk right by. Yeah, I'll just like grab one and bring them over here sometime.
Yeah, I'm sure that would go over well with HR. Okay, Jane. New year, new president. Now we're a week plus into the new Trump administration. Let's talk about markets. How have markets been? How are they doing? How is earnings season?
Yeah, well, the markets have done really well, really ever since November. We had that little rough stretch and like the second half of December, early in the years, worry about inflation and interest rates again. But I think as we got closer to the inauguration and people started thinking about tax cuts and less regulations and crypto was going to have some clarity and all those kind of things, that the markets and then also President Trump seemed to be kind of softening his stance on tariffs
Hmm.
recently as well since the inauguration, and I think that has relieved the market a little bit. We'll continue to watch that. But he doesn't seem quite as aggressive as he was a few months ago. So the markets are watching, but somewhat optimistic that maybe that won't be an issue. Earnings have been pretty good. Procter and Gamble had good results. American Airlines was a bit of a disappointment, which is interesting because we've heard from some other airlines, some other rivals, and they had good profit reports. It said demand is up, but American, for some reason, doesn't quite have traction right now. So it's been mixed, but mostly positive.
Yeah, and Netflix, our friends over at Netflix. I mean, have you seen their subscribers, Jane? I mean, they're just like this. I think you know what it is. I think it's ever since they brought WWE into into the fold. Their numbers have just
Interesting.
increased significantly.
Well, they attributed the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight as one of the things that led to the huge growth in subscribers. And I got to be honest, like there was more buzz around that fight. Like I was actually out with some friends that day and we're like, well, what time do we need to leave to go home and see the fight? And I'm like, I've never in my life said that. For some reason, I was drawn in. So it was like 108, 9 million people globally that watch that. And plus they're raising their monthly subscriber fees. So you've
I
got
did. I
Dish
saw that.
subscribers plus raising fees. So it's like perfect scenario for the stock.
Yeah, look, I'm not a boxer, but that outcome was a little disappointing for an old guy like me, and I
I
was really
actually fell
hoping.
asleep because it didn't even get going until like midnight
I
or
know.
something.
I thought it was going to start at 8 o'clock, but for the old geezers, but no, they started at like 11. So I started watching it, and I'm like, this is not going to be very good. Jane, I want to ask you about this Project Stargate or Stargate. Early on in the new Trump administration, focusing on building AI infrastructure. Excuse me. They had Sam Altman from OpenAI. They had Larry Ellison from Oracle. How are our friends at AI doing now that Project Stargate has at least been announced?
Yeah. Well, first of all, the number is amazing, $500 billion for this. And there's actually some talk, even from Elon Musk, that these companies don't really have that kind of money to put up for it. Microsoft maybe does. And they're, of course, a big investor in OpenAI, and Oracle probably does as well. Not sure about SoftBank so much, but so we'll see. But they have already started construction on an AI data center in Abilene. And just about everybody you talk to is like, look, AI, we need more data centers, we need more energy. The US has got to lead on this technology. And so this is part of this whole operation or Project Stargate or whatever it's called. But and it's interesting. I don't know if you saw the press conference or not, but
I did. I saw the three of. I didn't see the president, but I saw the three of them outside the White House.
well, and Larry Ellison talked about how AI could be used to cure cancer. It can analyze blood data and see cancer early, and very optimistic. And if some of these predictions come true, I mean, AI will be truly life changing.
Yeah, it certainly will. I think a lot of people are banking on it, pun it fully intended, and I guess we'll see where things kind of fall out there. Jane, when you look at some of the economic data that we've received over the past, since the inaugural, I mean, how are we doing inflation-wise? I think that really is a big deal for most Americans, is what they're paying at the pump and what they're paying for eggs, as an example, which have gone up.
Eggs have gone up, and housing continues to be high. Insurance is going up as well. We're probably going to see car prices go up because of the wildfires in Los Angeles. Thousands of cars were destroyed. But inflation is also about what is expected. So the market doesn't seem quite so worried about it.
Mhm.
We'll see what the Federal Reserve decides to do when it comes to this, but the projections for an interest rate cut this year have gone down based on the fact that inflation is still lingering.
Jane, you mentioned some of the earnings numbers. You talked about, OpenAI, or the AI, artificial intelligence. What's the general uh, feeling amongst the traders? I mean, you're right there. So they jumping around like skipping, like we used to skip in elementary school. Are they skipping and happy? Is there a general sense of optimism now that, some of these tea leaf numbers are starting to look better, good? It's a good start to 25.
Well, I think most people here on the floor are Trump supporters. And in fact, the day after the inauguration, somebody down here played YMCA. So I think they're very excited about what could happen under a Trump
Hmm.
administration. Now, sometimes when you get really optimistic, there are roadblocks, that you don't expect, and things don't go exactly as planned. But they see, and in fact, we just heard from the CEO of Bank of America. He was talking to one of the media outlets from Davos and saying that he's optimistic that the US will be a great place to invest over the next few years. So there's a lot of optimism, but I've been around the markets enough to know that when you're really optimistic is when surprises happen. So you always got to be careful too.
Yeah, the Grateful Dead used to have a song, Uncle John's Band, and they said in one of the lines was, "When life looks like easy street, there is danger at your door." And I think that really applies to the markets. I think that you're kind of conveying that. Jane King, we're going to have to leave it there. Great to see you as always. And look, we look forward to having you back on the program again very soon.
Great to see you too.
And don't forget to subscribe to our daily newsletter, The Morning Polls, for all the news in one place. Details, of course, at our website. And we're back again tomorrow for another edition of BRN. Until then, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes.